Right. Roll call.
Right. Do you want to do it or do you want me to?
Sure.
Want me to? Okay. All right. I think we have, let's see, Commissioner Onat is here. I said your name wrong. Commissioner Page and Commissioner Courtney and Chair Matsuda
Here.
and Commissioner Francisco may be late. Oh, Commissioner Avio, sorry, you're here. Would anyone like to make a motion to excuse Commissioner Pottinger?
I make a motion to Bishop and
Then you will join us later.
okay.
I second that.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
She said, but we vote, no?
Sorry.
Don't we vote?
Oh,
Second?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In favor of
I
Patricia and against carries.
Let's see, next we have public comments and Adrian didn't want to make a comment, so we don't have anyone else. And no emails.
And Councilmember Murray, she mentioned last week or last time she was not gonna be here.
Oh, okay, great. Can we, I guess I forgot to put minutes on the agenda, but can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I moved to approve the minutes, last month's minutes.
Yeah, from January, yeah,
also
thank you.
So moved and seconded to approve the minutes from last month. All in favor?
I
Thank you.
Motion carries.
All right. All right, let's see. So our first topic outside of the council member liaison report is proclamations. And I just had a couple of logistics I wanted to make sure we had covered. So we've invited the leaders from the masjid to attend the meeting tomorrow night. It's the 20th, sorry, just making sure I have my dates right. And I'll set up a little reception starting at 6:30 with just some light snacks in the lobby if you want to come early and mingle with members of the mosque, that would be great. And then I don't think there's anything special we have to do during that time as far as speeches go. But if we wanted to thank them for their community conversation, we could do that, or we could wait until the proclamation.
will any of the women be present?
I hope so. I did send it to the women leaders as well. Yes.
Okay, do we know if they are going to want to say anything, you know, either after proclamation or?
I'm not sure if that would
I'm not sure.
be their tradition. Yeah. So, yes.
Murtaza told me that they were thinking about the governors receiving it, so he didn't mention anyone else coming. And Gul wasn't sure.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we don't know.
I didn't catch it.
Oh, so Murtaza was like saying the proclamation probably is going to be received by the governors of the board members of the masjid, which are the men. And Gul, who was one of the women, what would you call it?
She's a leader.
Community members or whatever.
Yeah.
She wasn't sure.
Okay.
And they have a women's group.
Yeah.
Yes, they like, I don't want to say club, but they have that group.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly what.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, which I would. Think wrong, but is there any way that, you know, we could what the women used to do in the community? Or is that kind of
It would be really nice.
So I'm gonna come clean. I actually contacted Murtaza and I told him, this is not as a commissioner, I'm just telling you, suggesting this is a person from Mountlake Terrace. It would be nice if women from the mosque would be willing to receive the proclamation, this time to make it different, etc. And he just said that he will take it into consideration. And I tried, but I didn't want it to look like the commission is doing, so I told him, this is just a personal suggestion.
Mhm.
But at least you put it out there.
Yeah.
Yes, but as a person, because I didn't discuss with anyone, I just did it personal.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Well, then I guess, my second question would be, would it be out of place to recognize the women's group for, I don't know what they're doing in the community. But if they're doing.
They,
anything
well, they
in the
do stuff in their community, I think
Yeah.
that's important.
Okay, that could be recognized at a different time at a council meeting this month.
I personally don't think it's out of place, because if the worst case scenario, they're gonna say, no. We have nothing to lose, it's not like it's offensive for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or even if we didn't do it at a council meeting, if we invited different communities.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we do still have a follow-up meeting, I need to work on with Bull and the
Because
other
we're gonna
women.
try to do something at the library.
Yes, yeah, and I think we're feeling a little overwhelmed at the new year, beginning of the year, and then, now Ramadan is here, so, probably after Ramadan, we'll work on connecting them with the library, but they wanted to work on some programming at the library, both for the broader community and for, their community, and so, and I know that Andrew's been speaking with, the men at the mosque about an event at the end of Ramadan that they're planning as well, but that's kind of the broader population that go to the mosque, right? So, yeah.
Great, thanks for being forward thinking and bringing up,
Yeah.
I'm serious, really,
Thank you
I'm
so much
serious,
for
I think
doing
that's, I mean,
I did it only because I have a personal connection with them, otherwise it's kind of awkward.
Well, I think it might, but that might have been, you might have been the right person to do it for that reason, yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Because we have been working with them too,
But I also didn't want to send a second request because
Yeah, I think as different as this is like a good example of how different our cultures are
Sure.
and
Right.
like how, we don't want to push the whole group away by not understanding the culture,
Yeah.
even if we have a different opinion about how that might play out in our
what might
culture.
be nice to do, yeah.
Yes, but I do think the asking is not an offensive
Right,
thing, and also I can guarantee you will understand the cultural differences and that
Oh,
people in
yes.
America are not aware.
Mhm.
So I have never seen her taking offense over it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, when we talked to them, it was very clear that there are certain things that they do and certain things that they don't do,
Mhm.
yeah.
They'll just say, no, we don't feel comfortable.
yeah, all right. If the mayor does not want to read the proclamation and defer to one of you, is there someone who would like to read it as backup? Thank you. Thank you. All right, now Ruth. Also, if the mayor wants to defer.
I can read that one if I don't get too excited. This one I might giggle.
You're gonna giggle. And then you said you were looking into presenting it to someone, maybe?
Yes,
Okay.
and they accepted to be the receiver.
Okay, if you can just send me the names that
I thought I
someone
did.
maybe you did, and I'll
But
look.
that's okay.
Alright. All right, Children's Day. So, Karam and, Benita have been meeting to work through all these details, and it's a lot, so we really appreciate it. And then, I only ask that they move the time up a little bit earlier in the day. So that there's a little more time, because we have to, in order for the performance to occur, which will happen before the city council meeting, we have to move all the movable chairs out of the council chambers or in a corner. And then we have to think about where the performance occurs and where you want people to stand, because the city council is a study session, so the tables have to stay, and that are right in front of the dais. So we could have people stand in front of the dais looking
Okay,
backwards,
that might work.
or we could have people, I don't know if there's enough room in the lobby for people to stand in the lobby and look into the room, but
Okay, what if, are we able to move the computer of the lobby?
no.
No, okay, so I think the best option in that case is people are in front of the,
Stand in front of the dais and the tables and then look to the back of the room. Yeah, okay, great. So that is,
October 4th?
yeah, it's a study session night, but we'll make it an action meeting.
April 24th.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the plan for everyone to understand?
it's subject to confirmation from volunteers, but we are hoping to have a choir, like children's choir, and also folklore dancers, kids, and so the dancing children, they got excited as well, and then the dancing teacher is thinking about making it mandatory, if they want to get other privileges, they have to do this fast, kind of thing. We also were thinking, we as in, like probably three students, around, maybe three students from the local, schools, giving like maybe 2-3 minute speech about what they want this city to be in next 10 years or something like that, as council members. So we're waiting for a confirmation, and also like a presentation by high school students, but currently some employees changed in the school, so we're trying to get the info.
Just a couple logistical questions for the photos. So one, are you gonna have the children say anything on the dais when they're sitting in the council person's chair, or more just a photo opportunity?
Oh, I was hoping they could say something. I
Yes.
didn't know. Okay, yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
that's the plan. Like we were just thinking maybe 3 kids, each 2-3 minutes of speech.
That's what you were just talking
Yes.
about.
I meant for the photos part where they give up the seat. Is that different from the
Oh.
middle school and high schoolers giving the presentation of their ideas for?
I didn't
speech?
think about the photo op.
I was just trying to figure out if it was one at a time, and if, like, for example, if we had a lot of children doing the photos, if we had 2 cameras and one was facing towards like the end Steve sits at, and one was facing
Okay.
more towards where Aaron, I don't know, just trying to think of how do we organize that part? That was the part I was feeling like might take a while.
You mean having them up on the,
Like all of them?
I don't know, like, I don't know what
Oh,
your intent was,
yes.
if you wanted all like a group of 7 children to sit at the council and then
Right.
have the council members who are present stand behind them,
okay,
or not in the photo.
yeah,
I invited the council members, so I assumed you wanted them to meet the children early if they could.
Can we discuss this with Boniface on the call?
Sure, okay, yeah, and we can have a separate conversation about this
Yeah.
later if
Let me look at
you
the
want.
emails now.
I just wanted to make sure I understood so that I can arrange for photo photographer.
Oh, and are we, for all of these proclamations, are we going to ask Mountlake Terrace News? Are we gonna let them know that, like, the Ramadan proclamation?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was-
they usually cover our meetings anyway, so.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
yeah, yeah.
I wasn't sure if you guys were calling them every single time or.
They cover every meeting.
I
And
noticed my name up there, let me know, I'd be willing to do that.
oh, okay,
but I'd need equipment, not from you, but,
And I can definitely help with the kids.
Well, we have one fancy camera, well, not fancy for you, but fancy for us, and we have two.
I have one of those.
Okay, so we have two DSL cameras then, and I guess the question is if we have tripods, or, so it's just holding.
yeah, you want, for that kind of photo,
Yeah.
not flash on camera, you want a light off to the side,
Um,
up high enough to go down, so you don't get all the shadows.
All right, well, maybe we should
Between
talk
shots.
afterwards about,
Yeah.
I mean, we could maybe rent some stuff if we need to. No,
Well, you
no,
can rec-
oh, you have,
Yeah,
that kind of
you
thing,
got it, you got it,
okay,
yeah.
thanks.
And I'm happy to help with whatever I need help with. The
Make
kids.
people smile and stand
Yeah.
and look at the camera.
Make them faces.
Yeah, we'll need all the help we can get to shuffle people around
Yeah.
and also just chat with folks in the lobby.
Yeah, no, I love doing it, so.
All right, well, if people can come, whoever, I'll send a revised update with the time and just reply if you can come early and help set up, so. And, I'll definitely talk with Krem and Anita about the details a little bit more.
And
So,
we'll try to finalize that at our March meeting, which is later. Right.
yes, I would like to get a few things organized before then, because I have to ask for some
Oh,
help
yeah.
from facilities and so forth. All right, and then would you like the mayor to read the proclamation, or would you prefer to read the proclamation? I think, how did we do it last year? You and Benita spoke.
Yeah, Bonita presented, I read the proclamation. I don't have any preference,
Okay.
but if the mayor doesn't feel comfortable, I can totally read it. Oh, does it have to be someone from the city, like a commissioner or councilman? Can we have a child read it? Is that acceptable?
I don't see why not. I can ask the mayor if she's up for it.
Okay.
Do
And
you
maybe
have
we
someone
can
in
find
mind?
like a high school student who's gonna give presentation or whatever.
Yeah.
They might give them like sport
That's a little more
ownership.
of a, yeah,
Yeah, right.
more official, something official to do.
Isn't part of the theme of this whole Children's Day is allowing you to take over parts of government?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think the proclamation does a pretty good job of explaining that, right?
I wasn't sure if proclamation had to be read by.
Part of government, they taking over government.
Yeah,
Well, technically, it's read by the mayor, but she tends to be liberal with allowing other people to read.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk more about that later. We're gonna shift gears for a minute, and we have our work plan presentation to city council coming up. So we need, I drafted one for your review, which I sent to you late last night.
Yeah.
And then, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Adrian. I never shared my screen, so I'm going to do that. So this is up for comment, and then while we go through it, maybe you can think about who wants to say what. You're all welcome to be there. You can decide how you want to present it. If everyone wants a speaking role or just a few people do, totally up to you. All right, so here we go. Let's see. We have a photo, although we're missing Karam in the photo. And, I know you frustrated all of us that day. Last year we had the mission statement front and center. Figured you'd want to keep it in there. If you want a new headshot, just send me one. I basically cropped a whole bunch of photos to make headshots, so send me what you want. All right, so
Back that up a second.
Sorry?
Can go to for that slide, the previous slide, need to change that to Scott being the chair.
Oh, true, yes, 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 yes.
Well, for 2024.
I was the chair.
He's chair the end of 2024. Right?
No, since
No.
June. Isn't it been since June?
Yeah.
So technically.
Very good.
Don't really.
You're the chair. You're the one that's
We can-
starting this thing
You
off.
can say chair, former chair, yeah. So last year, we set some goals around training, planning, engaging, commemorating, and celebrating. So I designed the accomplishments to follow that order. So I'm not gonna read through all of this, but I do have some notes under the slides for you. And we can work on those together if you want more details. So we have the staff training. We also mentioned that members did some training on their own. And I tried to go through our minutes, but I feel like maybe I missed a couple of the trainings that some of you did. I know Kermit, you went to something in Tacoma. Was that last year? Or was that in 2023? Okay, all right. I was like racking my brain. So this was the other training slide. So if there's anything else related to diversity, equity, inclusion specifically that you feel like you want to add, we can modify the list here. Or any other photos related to the other events. So this is about the DEI strategic plan, and so I really was focused on right now we're working on the community engagement, and we are doing that through the community conversations to build trust and relationships and learn about people's experiences here. And then also that we've been involved in planning in various ways through the comp plan, through the tree regulations, and now coming up is the urban forestry plan. And I thought it was important not only to mention that Scott was on the CPAG, but also that all of you went to the public meetings, helped promote at the tabling of events about what was going on with the comp plan. I think you all did so much work on that. I just want to make sure that's acknowledged. And then engaging, this is really about what I feel like you all have been doing for years now, which is getting out in the community, meeting people, developing relationships, trying to make connections with other groups doing this work. And I really want to highlight the progress that we're making, like with certain groups in town. And obviously there's a lot of work to do all around, but we're making baby steps and making headways. And that also, you were the only city booth at the Sound Transit event, and I know you all enjoyed it, but I also just want to acknowledge that some of us were on vacation and some of us don't do tabling at events. When Andrew and I are not here, that means nobody's doing anything. So thank you for that.
We did have fun.
And then just, you know, that you're making an effort to get out at the city events as well in different ways every year. I love that picture. Well,
Yeah,
and Pete. That's
Mhm.
I look like I love it.
You're sweet talking. Sweet talking.
So infatuated with
Never seen Pete blush before.
I know.
God, it's good to have people in high places.
All right, commemorating, there's some notes that are hidden that talk a lot about the various proclamations that we did, 10 proclamations. Obviously, they are not covering all diversity, equity, and inclusion related commemorative dates, but we wanted to highlight a few and do it well. And so with as many as we can, we've been doing activities and events, and so tried to highlight some of those. So we have the She Marches in Chinatown, and then The drill team came and marched in the Tour de
Yeah.
Terrace parade, which was
Yeah.
really cool. And then we have some of our other proclamations. Oh, I guess I had that
Yeah.
picture in there twice.
Yeah.
I love that picture. Um, Celebrating, continuing, again, this is about the activities that are related to some of the proclamations that we worked on. Juneteenth and Welcoming Week were kind of the two big events that we worked together on. If you want, I can separate these into two different slides. There's lots of pictures. You want to make more of an impact. What is that? Oh, that's our, that should say 2025. Right, and then, so this is really just one slide. I can reorganize it. I can make it more than one slide if you want. But really just honed in on planning and engaging, but we could keep the 4 categories if you want. But these were the things that we talked about last meeting.
It's just a thought. But would you think that this would be an appropriate time at this juncture in the presentation to speak to how our work or our training, the mission statement is stated to what the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission is all about? Again, just because as a reminder, you know, to the council, to the public, and to ourselves, you know, why or what we're doing and why we're doing it. You know, because of all of it. I know the city is affected by that right there, right now.
Yeah.
It is,
Mhm.
you know, and I think that it's just a suggestion that, you know, just a reiteration of what it is, you know, what our mission statement, how we're following it, and how we're utilizing it, how all of that stuff in 2024 has allowed us to be able to have a work plan for 2025
Yeah.
because of what the commission is, not because of the response.
Yeah.
Or what some people might think it is.
Yeah.
Do you think if I, on the transition slide, or just add another slide and just put the mission statement? Because the previous slide had like the ordinance language, but I could hone in on.
Yeah.
The mission statement, okay.
Is middle housing the house of the prison?
No,
Or is
no,
it is it, okay, it's a
more like-
residential.
it's affordable housing, but it's like townhomes, duplexes, small apartment buildings.
Okay.
There's gonna be a really short window to participate in that, and I'm not sure if they're gonna have time to come to the commission, but if there's a public meeting, it would be great to make sure we can get there. So I'm gonna talk to Christy more about it. They had 6 months to put this plan together, and it has to go through planning commission and council. And we have less than 6 months now. It has to be done in June. So,
That'd be good to understand more about how that's gonna work.
yeah. I just think things with housing and,
People ask about that
transportation, I mean, it is related to making sure that we're meeting the needs of our community and that they can stay here, whether they're new to the community or they've been here 30 years and need to downsize, you know, like, how do we make?
We had in was I guess the ordinance that they're changing, things in the ordinance about allowing people to camp in backyards. Is that direct, and I didn't see the whole thing, I had to scoot off, but is that direct, is that in any way related to affordable housing for the community? Meaning, is this camping, is there a specific type of structure that's listed in there, and is it a structure that has to be for camping purposes, or is it a structure that, you know, people will possibly be used to rent to others? Is that?
So you're talking about the code compliance
Yeah, the code.
presentation the other day? There was a proposal to, restrict when people can have a tent in their yard.
Yeah, they had something.
And, that was really about temporary structures, tents and RVs.
Cause that's what's, that was what we mean last meeting.
And, we have had, a code issue where someone was allowing several homeless people to live in their backyard. And so there's obviously a problem, like, there's a whole bunch of problems with.
Okay. So
Yeah,
my
you
question
have a
was,
bunch of
this
different-
code isn't really addressing any of the.
No, middle housing
issues.
is not about the low income, it is about, and they call it middle because it's sort of like middle income, like middle, and it's also between a single family home and like an apartment building that's 6 stories tall, like we see here on the corner of Main Street. So it could be, a mother-in-law unit in your backyard. It can be building a 2-story duplex or a side-by-side duplex. There's all the different stuff. We talked a little bit about it during the comp plan, and there were some boards at one of the meetings that showed the different, like, which kinds of middle housing would you like better? So this part of the plan is sort of refining where that would occur and what it might look like, and then setting the zoning code up to accommodate those decisions. So, yeah, 2 really different issues, but
That's what.
but all cities are supposed to accommodate all income levels. So at some point, we have to figure out where we're meeting the 0 to 30% income people. So,
How about the community ambassador program?
yes, we need to talk about that.
Okay.
It's a council prerogative, and also you all have asked about it, and I start working on it, and we have some other things going on, but I think we need to have a few conversations about it, but it's really like, there's people who come to our meetings, there's people who you've all met out in the community who show an interest in helping, and we are like, yeah, we love your help, and then we haven't followed up, right? So maybe there's a way to think about a more formal program where there's a little training. We can think ahead of time about events we know about, and then maybe there's a listserv, an email list of like, hey, we're gonna do this community conversation, we're gonna do this event, we're gonna have a resource fair, would love your help. And then we set up a little time, like with any kind of volunteer event, do a short training or meet early before the event, tell them, like, this is what we need your help on. So it could be a lot of different things. In my former city, we had community ambassadors who helped with community engagement, and they were paid a stipend to go out into their communities. So we basically hired Spanish speakers, Amharic speakers, and Vietnamese speakers to really infiltrate those communities better than what we've been able to do, because when we didn't have staff speaking all those languages and didn't have the connections. And so it was a way to do what we're doing in community conversations right now with these ambassadors. And so there's a bunch of different ways it could work out. But we need to have a few more conversations about what that looks like. And I feel like by the middle of this year, we'll have our feet underneath us a little bit, having done quite a bit of outreach to be able to understand how it could work. Any other comments on? That's basically all I have. Sorry about that. And do you want to talk a little bit about who's speaking, just so I can get feedback from you all about how to make improvements to this if you need?
How many slides are there?
And I guess some of them are just questions.
There's about 15 if you take out the transition slides. You know, did a stellar job last year, if you don't remember. Created some waves.
I think Scott should lead us off and finish us up, at the very least.
Yeah,
Mhm.
put it up, talk about the mission,
Mhm.
talk about our accomplishments.
Well, probably should have any slides you want, slides.
Yeah, I'll take a slide.
You know, Scott can assign them, since everybody's saying.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll take
do
a slide
whatever.
too, yeah.
Learning results.
I'll do a little homework, but that's a little messy. So this is yours.
Yeah, it's good.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
if you wanna just, I don't need to know necessarily, I just need feedback from all of you who are presenting it, as if you want any changes, I can work on that for you. So. And there are some notes in the, I can try to share this with you, in a different way where I couldn't send the actual PowerPoint to you, but in the PDF, there's little comment boxes, and if you
Yeah.
click on them,
Yeah.
these notes should show up.
Okay.
But I can also find a way to share the actual PowerPoint so you can see everything a little easier. Any other discussion on this one tonight?
You go back to the beginning. Photos should go right there, huh? Switch those out, DEI commission,
Okay.
we're introducing people, and then we can go mission after that.
But I'm definitely sending you the picture.
Agenda.
You know, maybe that picture outside is like the last picture. That's. Then you got the all photos and.
Need to make this one.
Whoops.
I need to do this view. We want to introduce people, and
Yeah.
then we want the accomplishments to go back up high.
There you go.
Right. So we have train, plan, engage, commemorating, celebrating. So there's 5 categories, and then the work plan.
Okay,
So just about.
so I'll take the front end, introduce. Read the mission, do we want to read the mission?
Speak to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
speak to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone will speak.
Some of it,
Paraphrase it a little bit.
yeah. Is this where we should
Someone's in.
interject that,
They're trying to sell them on what we're supposed to do, whereas if you put it down later, you've already showed them what we do
yeah,
and how that relates to, you know, the statement up above, and now we're reminding them of what they asked us to do in 2018, you know, which is why they put us together, you know. And because again, if you go back to the archives, what we're doing right now is what they said that their expectation is of this commission. Almost to the letter, you know, when they had all these conversations as to whether or not there was going to be a commission and why there shouldn't be a commission. And if we had a commission, what should they do?
Yeah.
This is what we've done.
Yeah, I get why we would want to speak to it at some point, besides just talking about the mission. Because there's so many other organizations that are having to address that
You're
very
right,
thing.
you're right.
And they're putting it into words that will hopefully slide past the scrutiny. And I don't know if we're trying to do is to do exactly that, but I think we want to just speak to the kinds of things that we have been focused on and how beneficial it has been for the city and for people who reside here.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of having it at the end.
Which
of
thing?
it.
Oh, the
Well,
mission
yeah,
statement.
because just show what we do and then say, yeah, and this is DEI.
Mhm.
You know, this is what we do as a DEI commission.
I'll add this later. I have notes to make that happen, so I'll do it later.
No, I like the idea of saying that this is DEI, because that may be the way that we can say very matter of factly, this is DEI.
At the end, after we've already said, hey, we did all this stuff,
Yeah.
and this is what it is. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is how we.
So do you want to remove this slide here or keep it and just
No, I
not?
think we leave it.
Okay, but we'll add the mission later, yeah.
But I'll summarize.
Okay, so Scott, are you gonna introduce the accomplishments and then hand it off like
Yeah, I'll
here?
go to that first slide.
And then at
That's-
8, somebody else will take it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll do 1 through 7. And then who wants to do training? Or sign up for planning or engagement? Just pick an area that you wanna talk about. You whispered about them.
Which one do you want?
Whatever, man, you sitting here mumbling.
No, I'm thinking, yeah, I know.
You're too hard about it.
No, it's just, there's a couple that I wouldn't mind doing, but I can do the training one.
Is there one a different one that you prefer to do? I'm not
I
pressuring
mean,
you, I'm
you
just-
know, I know, I mean, I just, nobody was jumping at the training one. I mean, I don't mind doing the training one.
Okay,
I mean, there are
Unless somebody else really wants to do it,
you got
yeah.
your lovely picture right
Yeah.
here. Look.
But I mean,
Yeah,
you know, I did do that training and then I was involved in the DEI training.
All right, so we
in
got
City, so I don't mind.
training
I mean,
Teresa.
It's what I did. So-
Yes, all right, you did all the things though. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, planning. We've got, community conversations, comp plan, tabling at the events. And what do I want to do?
I can't because I have to eat around 7:05 that day.
Just harsh.
Yes, I forgot that happened.
I mean, I don't mind,
Alright, I'll do it then.
you can do the table.
Whatever we were just talking about.
That was
There's engagement and then there's tabling, right?
planning, so planning
Yeah, that's
is William.
This is going to be at 7, right? Because it's only calibrated 7 here.
Yeah, that's when meetings start.
Okay.
We are not first. I think we're second.
So
I think, arts or parks, somebody's gone before us.
All the commissions are giving their reports.
okay.
Yeah.
7:12 apparently that day. So I just want to be excused. Otherwise, you'll be seeing me eating in the commission's office.
I can ask Chris to go third. Would it be better? if we
I'm
were-
gonna go last like last time, man.
We did last.
Arts is towards the bottom, they were gonna go higher, so arts is second to last.
No, we were second to last year, cause we,
So does that mean it will be around 8?
the arts.
I think each one would be probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, sounds like,
Some might be shorter than
Felt
others.
like it took a long time.
Do you want me to go third or fourth, if you wanna participate?
The only reason why I'm just avoiding is because it's
Yes,
going to be
yeah,
really
yeah,
tough,
yeah.
but if it's going to give me enough time to eat, I can bring my food and I can just eat in this room and then come and it's about how
Okay.
to present, but
So if it was at 7:45-ish, would that be enough time?
that should be enough.
Okay.
And I won't be eating that
All right, well, given that, which topic would you like to speak about?
Oh,
Do you wanna do commemorating? Or engaging or celebrating?
did anybody grab the celebration? Because I want to talk about it. Okay, so I'll do the celebration.
So, commemorating is the,
Oh, is it?
proclamations, and celebrating is like
Oh, can I do
Juneteenth.
commemorating then?
Commemorating, okay. Permit, what would you like to do?
That's good.
I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, you're in Minnesota, okay.
Don't forget Benita, she'll probably.
Yeah, Benita, we'll do Benita for, celebrating. I feel like I'm missing one. Commemorating, oh, engaging. Who wants to do
I
engaging?
mean, I don't mind doing engaging, because I really like doing the table and stuff.
Okay. All right, and then we'll have Scott wrap up, right?
yeah.
Or do you want somebody else to do the work? You'll do the work
This
plan.
one will be fine.
Okay, Scott will do the work. Okay, got it. And I have the edits that we talked about, but if there's others, just let me know. Thank you for that.
Okay,
Um,
moving on.
all right, now we have planning for upcoming events. All right, so Sunday we have a community conversation. It's being offered in Spanish and English. We've invited the interpreter that we met at the church to come back. And also the health district, we're partnering with the health district. So just FYI, I know about 4 of you signed up to help with this. We're gonna be at the library in the big room.
Mhm.
We're gonna set up, I'm thinking 4 tables. And then the city will start at 2 tables. In English, and if we have Spanish speakers, we'll have a 3rd table in Spanish. And we definitely would want someone from our group with the interpreter. And then on the other side of the room, it'll be health district, 2 English, 1 Spanish. And we'll spend 1 hour talking about the city stuff, and then we're gonna flip. And then we'll do the 2nd hour with the other groups, the other tables. And so the health district will talk about their stuff for an hour, we'll talk about our stuff for an hour, but we'll basically just flip tables, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a little more condensed than what we've done in the past, and we will not do the drawing exercise, we'll do just a quick icebreaker, yeah. Just because the drawing exercise.
The health department is basically doing their own community comment.
Yeah, and they're gonna follow a really similar guide like we have. I think it's taken people a while to think about like doing this kind of facilitation of a discussion with the community and not a presentation. Cause at first they were like, we're gonna do a presentation about all our programs, and we're like, you can, but it would have to be really short because we wanna have a conversation with people, right? And so then all of a sudden, it took them a little while, they like to kind of figure it out, and they're like, oh, we could kind of take your boards as examples. So like we have the one about our services, and they did a similar one with their services, like, did you know we did vaccinations? Did you know we have whatever, all these different programs that they have?
I have no idea what the health department is
yeah.
doing now.
Yeah, they have a lot, and it's free, all the things are free, so. So that they basically sort of mimicked our boards, but for them. So,
Do they think people will come?
we did a RSVP form, we did press releases, for our English news outlets, and then we did some for Spanish news outlets. Sienna's been promoting it on like 4 different social media platforms and doing targeted ads for the Spanish speaking community. So right now, I think we have like 8 or 10 people RSVP'd, but a lot of people won't RSVP, so.
And how involved is Letty in this in terms of getting,
They are not super involved, yeah.
Okay.
We talked to them about it early on, but they're not like a partner in it, so. All right, so that's what that one. I'll talk to Benita more about the Know Your Rights event, but.
I can talk a little bit about that.
Oh, you
because I
can,
was on
great.
that,
Oh, you were.
Video call with her.
Great.
So considering the fact that the health department is also going to do this, what if this, will it be relevant to anyone living in Snohomish County? Or is it still more focusing on what they do in Mountlake?
I mean, there will be the 1 hour about Mountlake Terrace, the city, like.
And we will do our Mountlake Terrace part, but how about the Snohomish County?
Yeah, so 1 hour will be the city, 1 hour will be health department.
But their section is not going to be focusing on Mountlake
No.
Terrace.
No.
No, they covered them.
Yeah, okay.
they're not going to care anyway.
Yeah, I know, I'm just like wondering, because would it be appropriate to like let neighboring people living in neighboring communities know, but they're not connected to Mountlake Terrace by school or?
Yeah.
I mean, in some of the other community conversations, we've been okay with people who don't live in the city, who just
But they were still
do
connected.
things
to-
here, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if they do something here, that's okay. All right, Teresa, do you want to give an update on Know Your Rights or?
Well, basically, we did a lot of talking about how much difficulty people are having in terms of feeling safe going to places. So, Marisol said she would like, they would like to have some kind of a community meeting, but wondered if there was a way we could figure out how to do it where it was, zoomed in or something, because then people don't have to physically show up. So we mostly talked a lot about that, but it's still kind of in the works, so there wasn't any big decisions made. We just realized that it's gonna be difficult for a while to get people to show up. I had talked to Carla at the food bank about how it's changed for people utilizing the food bank. And she said instead of everybody coming individually, like one family will come and pick up for 6 families,
Oh.
and then they take turns. So that they aren't all physically on a property at the same time. So, that's just an example of how people are modifying their behavior to be safe. And, so I think Benita was gonna look into some things about that, that I don't remember exactly what that was, but basically it was aimed at maybe seeing if there was a way we could develop a conversation where people could zoom into it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we could host it on our Zoom account.
Yeah.
If we want to do it and monitor Zoom bombers, we would need some extra staff to help monitor.
Right, and we might need to sort of reformat it a little bit because it would be hard to do the board and all those kind of things it might be.
Oh, are we talking about a community conversation?
Well, yes, she actually, Marisol wants a community conversation.
Oh.
But, so the Know Your Rights thing might be sort of a separate thing,
Gotcha.
but also done in a similar fashion, so, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, that's gonna be,
so maybe doing a community conversation online.
yeah, and possibly, separately, or maybe as part of the same event.
Gotcha.
thing. So definitely a different format. Everybody.
Well, no, you're right. Washington Immigrant Solidarity Network has one on February 22nd and one on March 5th online.
Yeah, I think Anita was talking about the ones that are that on Mark through that himself. I mean, it may be that part of the conversation would be is helping direct people to where they could access information. So, and it depends on how many participants.
So this one is gonna be Spanish and English.
Well, yeah, because this, we're talking about letters, so that one would be no good.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let me know if I can help now that I'm back. I think we were
And I don't, we
arranging.
didn't actually set up another meeting, so, but maybe, he may be communicating with Anita
Alright.
about that, so.
AAPI month.
Alright, so. The four of us are in contact. We have a nice long list that commissioners have been going through to kind of reduce our 40+ groups that Dr. Guzman and myself kind of created organizations to have there for that event. And looks like we're probably gonna shoot for right around that 30 mark. And then we still need to figure out selection of performances. With the conversation with Commissioner Avio was, possibly having maybe like not necessarily everybody performing inside, but if there's like a ukulele group that want to be outside and bringing like the canopies out there, trying to find different ways to activate it to kind of bring people in would be an option as well. But right now, until we kind of lock that in, we'll probably try to set up a meeting with the four of us or five of us and kind of solidify who's reaching out to who, set that schedule, and then really do that big push here. Ideally beginning of March, to keep on with Big Red. Already a month and a half to Dr. Guzman also get into the peach jar to really push that. But the performance aspect will definitely be part that we want to focus on and figuring out if groups are wanting to come pro bono just to be able to perform and be a part of something. If they are needing compensation, what does that look like? What is realistic for us? And then, yeah, what different representation do we want to have? So, but I think we have from that list, we have definitely a wide range of organizations across the board, ranging from all kinds of resources and all kinds of backgrounds, to make it so we have something very diverse. Yeah. If you want to say anything from what you guys have talked about.
The only other category I think that I'd like to get is the contact person.
Okay.
Or we have emails, but don't know who the person.
Plus the
contact is.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that we would need.
I mean, the other thing is we could do, are you just trying to personalize it by splitting it up? Or like, I could do a mass,
It would be I guess, yeah, we're just trying to make sure that we have that contact, so
Yeah.
it doesn't get lost in email. If
Yeah.
we're reaching out to 30, I mean,
Yeah.
I know how National Night Out goes, it's like,
Yeah.
as soon as it goes, it has to go into this folder, or else I don't know where I'm looking back at it or who it came from or whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have most of the primary contact names as well.
I'm sorry, who's on this committee? It's Kermit, Scott, and
Juanita.
Anita.
Yeah, I definitely think this is gonna be an event that has a little more draw. Buy-in. We talked about at one point whether we were trying to get a food truck vendor or somebody to come out, so that needs to be a point of discussion too. And seeing if there is somebody who wants to come out and say, yeah, I'll come sell. A lot of times they'll have a minimum. And so if that's something that they have where they say, yeah, I can come there for this time. But if I don't make X amount of dollars or X amount of sales, I need to be compensated for. So I kind of figured that out, or if they just want to come be a part of it, say, yeah, we can be at this event and be at this event. So that's another thought to kind of go about.
Yeah. Would an Asian event be without food?
What would any event be without food?
Yeah.
Bren wouldn't come to anything. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know, every time there's an event, I message her saying, is there food? Like, every calendar invite she sends, is there food?
Yeah, man, there's plenty of trucks out there right now. So just be getting on the radar and seeing really what that would cost, and I think pitching them what the event is, and we're trying to go for it and see. Between Buddha Brothers and even like Just Poke, and then there's another one out there right now that's doing a bunch of dumpling style. So like there's different offerings, so it really comes down to not having multiple trucks or vendors, but just having one that wants to buy in and say, yes, we want to support this.
Yeah.
We're part of this community, and go from there. I know we can always get Yummy Box, can always show up, but if there's another one we want to bring in from outside, can think about that. Juneteenth is going to be on June 15th this year from 11 to 3, which happens to be Father's Day. We are going to be having a father figure generational panel as part of it this year. So not just referencing fathers, but father figures, and have them kind of share what fatherhood looks like, and then what the different generations' experiences were growing up and raising a family, as part of the panel aspect of it. We're looking into different sound groups and whatnot, as well as performances, and we're gonna go to only 2 food vendors this year to try to hone in a little bit more on not having it so widespread, but then also being able to accommodate. We handed out 500 meal portions last year.
Mhm.
So, we want to make sure that we're able to do that, but then also make sure it's worth it for the branding and people who are coming. And then we had a conversation really about how do we connect with the community that's already active in Mountlake Terrace on Sundays. So like Mountlake Church doesn't have a Father's Day event this year. And so I reached out to them and was like, hey, you guys, I would love it if you guys could participate. You can either come after first service or after second service. We're gonna be around the whole time. And the dads there, 2 pastors are fathers, and they're like, that'd be kind of awesome, like for our kids to come over and see that. But we already have that kind of built-in clientele around the area with 9 churches in Mountlake Terrace at that time too. So if we can kind of tap into that as kind of getting the word out there and noticing and saying, this isn't just for like Juneteenth, but for our community to come together and share this experience, especially around fatherhood and really what that means, and come celebrate. We will have a photo booth for family photos too, like a Father's Day family photo style, which would be, I think, nice to be able to take home and have that. I don't think a lot of, I shouldn't say, I never really did photos with my dad, and within the committee, a lot of us kind of talked about that. That's not really a thing on Father's Day. A lot of times it's holidays and other things, but being able to get a photo with your family or your father figure that day is going to be kind of a fun way to kind of spin it with that. So, but yeah, we're still building our organization list of who wants to attend, because we want it to be a little bigger this year. Wanting to utilize the space a little more. Hoping that we don't have that random downpour. The one photo we have here is really nice and sunny and great, but that was before the rain.
No one
so.
was taking their cameras out during that.
Yeah, no one was out there during that time. But yeah, so that event's going well. Planning, we are gonna have access to, Snow Isle has committed to having resources provided to the library ahead of time, because we'll be in there before the library opens. And so they're committed to having the resources there ahead of time for staffing to make sure the building can be open for us. Which was gonna be a kind of challenge point, because they don't open until noon. So how do you have people in the building without the library being able to be a part of it as a partner? So they're dealing with that. They committed to having staffing at the library for this event to be able to offset it as well. But yeah, if there's any questions about that, you and I'll probably follow up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've got more, I have the detailed notes and everything,
Sure.
but.
You know, we are getting the youth involved again, you know, we'll hopefully get someone to do photographs. There are, person over there at the school, and one of the things we talked about is, there's a hallway in the high school that has like, it's just awesome murals so we say, wow, maybe we can do like a portable mural panels
That-
and they jumped all over that, you know, hopefully we can get, you know, jazz. You know, the jazz group.
Yeah.
It is, you know, so I'm gonna be following up with them tomorrow to go in and kind of like share some ideas of what we're going, but pop it in there before I see you. You know,
I definitely learned something in that last year, so.
Yeah.
Signing up.
Yeah, and we did bring that up a little bit, of like, you know, if we had 4 different individual murals that each one kind of represented a different aspect of like
That'd be cool.
a fatherhood mural, you know, what it means to be growing up in our community. And this kind of like differentiated and have it throughout the event.
Yeah.
So it kind of guided or had it on the corner, like, here it is, and
And you know, one of the things that when I go and talk to them about, and there was somebody that put this in my head, you know, because I was talking to them. And this is a black person I'm talking to, and he said, why just black kids? You know, and he was right, you know, so this would be a perfect opportunity because the artists over there, the jazz musicians over there, they're not just black, you know, they're the whole spectrum, you know, and then we can get, you know, the churches to come over with their perfect time to come over and get free food with your dad on Father's Day, you know, it always works, you know, the opportunity, you know, to get folks involved with the idea, the perspective of what you teach kind of looks like, feels like, you know, you can get involved in.
Did you have one of the murals be the background for the photo thing?
I don't know, we haven't got to, we haven't got to.
Yeah, I mean, that just
You know.
popped in my head.
mhm.
But,
I mean, that this is definitely a bigger planning, just because we are 2 organizations coming together and trying to pull in other organizations. But we're on the right path, we're getting our funding already lined up, so I told them I was a lot happier with where we are right now in February than I was last year in
That was
February.
pretty, you know.
You know, the more that we can get the school involved,
Mhm.
then the better opportunity to have them on the banner also as a, you know, as a partner
Mhm.
in this, you know.
Also-
Again, that builds the community, you know.
And then if the kids are involved, then maybe the parents and the rest of it.
Yeah, guess this transition, I'm sure you're gonna talk about Tuha's
Oh, yeah.
thing, but just kind of need to figure out where that is, what the role, if any, that we need to do, and if I need to communicate with the library and transition ownership of that room over to her for that.
You know,
Yeah,
that
so,
now,
I mean, I don't know. That'll just be a transition, I don't know if we wanna keep going.
let me
because I
pass
haven't-
this
yeah.
out. This is happening
Fine, yeah.
next month. End of the month. This is, 200 then.
Yes.
This is fine. And she'll have, so what we've agreed to do is fix our logo to this, to sponsor it in that fashion. Find a way to put that on here. So I gave her the logo and she's gonna maneuver it on here, and change things around a little bit. But she's got the library on March the 30th. The event for her will go 2 to 4, but we've set it aside 1 to 5, I think.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's 1 to 4:45.
She'll get in there. She wants to have a Zoom feed, but she doesn't know how to operate it.
So she needs full AV.
I don't know how she is,
We can do-
yeah,
work with
she needs
Christine.
access to the screen there, and she's got a video to show. And she's got speakers. I think one person is James Anderson, is somebody that will be zooming in.
Will because we are sponsoring this,
Yeah,
are they using our account? Are they using her own account? Is it going to be a public accessibility? That's, I guess, what I wanna know.
We should probably use our account because hers, if it's free, would only last 40 minutes.
And, but that's what I'm saying, so
Yeah.
we have to have our public comment
oh, I
with
see.
that protocol.
It's
So,
not
yeah.
a public meeting, it's just an event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking more of people remote in to make.
I don't
They
know if it's gonna
if they
go.
want like that,
Okay.
that'd be my concern is.
Right.
Yeah,
I could probably work with Jennifer to set it up as the type of meeting, the type of Zoom meeting that we use for council.
Okay.
Um,
That'd be just part of it is,
she doesn't know how to operate it, so she
We'd have
needs
to
somebody
do
there
yeah.
to hook her into it and open it up. Or-
That's a Sunday, right? March
It's Sunday.
2nd.
yes.
Should I just let her know that
Yeah,
we're gonna contact her about that?
Yeah, cause I need to talk to Kristen about AV first
Okay,
and see what that is versus us having to
okay.
laptop it over and then project it through our projector onto a
Okay.
whiteboard.
Well, if you don't mind doing that, then I think that's gonna take a load off of her.
yeah. Well, they have those television monitors in there, so I think as long as we're projecting to the television monitors, we do like we do here and we share the screen.
I just wanna make sure that
Yeah,
they're okay with us
yeah, yeah.
with that being in. Yeah. I do have one question with this flyer. It's sponsored by her,
Yes,
but the advisory board. Is this an official group that would be, is that who's hosting the event?
that is her advisory board. I don't know. She's the one that's hosting.
Like her name isn't on here anywhere.
Yeah,
Well, I had a really tough time getting her to.
I know,
this.
it looks, I mean, it was very organized and it's clear about what's gonna
Yeah,
happen, so
it's,
that's
it's much
good.
clearer.
Thank you, Scott.
and is she
Yeah.
anticipating us being the marketing, or she started the marketing and can have us share it on socials?
That's the question I have for her. She doesn't have a social, presence, social network presence. Although she has accounts. But she has
Following,
no following, very little following.
Well, maybe she could, work with the MLT News.
Yes, I did
Okay.
mention that to her.
So is this something that the city would put on their website?
Yeah, I'm talking to Sienna about it, but I was waiting for the final
Yeah, I
version.
did promise that to her,
Yeah.
once she got something together.
Then we can start
are
sharing.
you talking about on our website or our socials?
Social.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be the only thing that I would ask for is to have some form of, there's no name on here.
Mhm.
Whether it's an organization that her advisory board is, or if those are just the people she's working with, or just kind of. How it goes, cause if the logo goes onto it,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna come back and say, you guys organized it, you guys did it. And so I want some separation of people not just being like, okay, you guys put this on, you signed off on
Yeah,
everything that's being said.
right.
Because there are gonna be two different sides of every story, and I wanna make sure that we don't have people come back and say, your guys' event did this, or your event offended me, that while we're supporting this event, I wanna make sure that it's known that there's a
Well,
separation.
any way that we can, between now and then, see the news.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think she gave us the names of them. I don't know if they're publicly available.
Film segments, yeah.
Yeah,
And also which segment?
Hmm?
Which segment of the film also?
Right, yeah, cause. I mean, I can commit to being here there at 1 o'clock and. For this to kind of get her set up. Cause it sounds like we're gonna need to. Somehow preload each one of these videos to start at a certain point. So she can go into it, screen share, set up the Zoom, like there's gonna be a lot that I think is gonna be leaned on us. Especially if she's doing this solo
Yeah.
and doesn't actually have her advisory board with her.
Sure.
yeah,
So I can definitely be there for support, but I think there is still some things that I would want to make sure that she is clear on, that we are not going to run this for her.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you ask?
That
her
is
if she-
huge. I
Mhm.
mean, that's being there to help her get that set up and all that. That's huge.
Would you ask if she has anybody in the network that is Zoom savvy?
But if it's ours anyways, we're gonna have to set it up, I mean, but
Mhm.
I'm just saying, like, queuing this up, if it's not digital and she's not pulling off YouTube or something, then she's gonna have to either have the DVD or the link downloaded to whatever computer, I'm assuming we'll probably actually end up taking one of our laptops over, because it'll be our Zoom link. That we're gonna need access to that and know exactly when to queue it up, so, if it's a VHS tape, then that's a whole nother story. So, I'm trying to figure out, I think that's part of it, like needing to know.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, is getting that involved in it making us responsible for the content?
That's kind of what I'm asking, because it sounds like she needs us to be that involved,
Yes.
and that's my fear.
I've already told her that we don't have the capability, we don't have the budget, ourselves, DEI. And the commission
To.
is to pay for staff
Mhm, mhm.
and,
Yeah, we have an event the day before now, which we'll be
We
talking
do?
about, a community conversation on March 29th. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so I guess that's just my
and she
point.
is at this point running off of that information that I gave her, that what we're doing is helping her broadcast it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put our seal of approval on this because this is something that we're interested, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
I'm interested in understanding.
Yeah.
The experience. And,
I guess the question is, how important is the Zoom feed? I mean, if there's a presenter that needs to be virtual, that's one thing, and having a Zoom webinar,
Yeah, webinar.
yeah. Anyway, well,
Yeah.
maybe we just need to have like one
If
more
it's-
level.
If they only need the Zoom for 20 minutes for this person to talk and share with people, but if you want it to be a dual-sided where people can see what's happening and see that, and then also do screen share so people can remote in,
Mhm.
then that's another
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I'll get clear on that. But I won't offer the service, the complete service, until I understand that that's what she's stuck on.
and yeah, if we just know how she plans to show the videos.
Um,
If she's like, oh, I have the DVDs, okay, and that tells us one thing, or before we're even saying, okay, we can navigate this, it's,
Yeah.
we need to know where that information is. I'll check in with the library tomorrow and say, what AV access do we have, can we have? And if it's that I have to be on site, as the city, so I'll be on site for it, but I'm gonna kind of keep that, like, yes, that's what we're working on,
mhm.
but at some point we start to have a balance of workload for this.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how involved. I'm not sure about, I mean, this is great.
Mhm.
This is, that she came this far to
Yeah.
put all these together.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure of how the content's gonna flow.
Yeah. Well, let us know if one of us, if it would be helpful for one of us to talk
Okay.
with you and her, or,
It's really helpful to get the support from the city, the broadcast.
Yeah.
The event.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what it sounds like from reading it, it says Zoom feed available. And so that means we have to attach the Zoom link to socials that go out.
You know, the question that is in my mind about this, that should be asked of her, is who's gonna moderate? Who's gonna moderate?
the time to,
Okay.
yeah.
That's important. Whoever's gonna moderate, it's got to stick to this.
One point she talked about food, has she kind of gone away from that?
Asked her about that, she hasn't brought that up yet,
Okay.
again.
The library. Oh, man. There's a new Vietnamese restaurant right next to the gym. And she
Green
went there.
papaya,
Yeah, I haven't been there, but I happened to mention.
I went there
to her,
last
she
week.
went there. And if she could get them, if she wanted to donate some little bites.
Yeah.
Then that would be a good opportunity for them, to get introduced to the community.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah, it's a good place.
I went there last week with my mom, nice vermicelli bowl. That's refreshing, change of pace.
Well, that's it on that.
Okay. Great, Andrew, do you wanna give an update on your meeting with the master?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago now, Scott King from PD, John Merrick and myself went over and met with the leaders of the mosque and about Ramadan and kind of figure out how we can be better stewards of the streets and work with them to make sure that they can have a successful month-long event, not just a one day here or there. So we are currently working on addressing the no parking issues on 56th for them as well, which would increase parking and side road impacts, especially during Ramadan, but not just then, but long term. And making sure that we do have police presence a little more, not necessarily stationed there, but during Ramadan to make sure that patrols are aware of prayer times that people are coming in. And as that's gonna fluctuate, but just make sure that they're aware of it. Did encourage them that if anything does come up, that 911 is the first call, don't try to call PD's personal numbers.
Cool, Carolyn.
And then, advised on some other safety aspects that they were looking into is like getting the little flagger cone tipped flashlights for when people are crossing. So even though that one's lit up, it's a diagonal crossing walk. So being able to have somebody as goes trying to walk with one of those, to kind of just make it a little more visual. And then they're looking at having kind of a block party, to wrap up Ramadan at the end of March. And then, that would include, partial road closure, where they would be able to set up a little more into the road and utilize the parking lot for the entire group to kind of hang socialize in. And so we've kind of laid out a map for them on how this would work, how the roads can be closed, what aspects would need to happen, send them everything. It's up to them if they want to do it. But it was one thing that they were kind of passionate and got excited about, the potential of being able to have an end event in their area without having to be like, oh, cool, we have to stay in our parking lot, but no one can park here. So it was a great conversation. They now have all of our numbers. They asked a lot of questions of, what happens if X, what happens if this, what happens, and so, it was good to have that kind of back and forth, communication with them and being able to answer the questions that I don't have the answers to. So can defer to PD or defer to traffic engineering of why these things are here, or can we address them? Yes, and I do know that the sign posting for no parking right there, has already been, requested to have in place by the start of Ramadan. To be able to increase that.
Didn't you mention that they also work with some of the other churches on parking and?
Yes, so they've worked with Bethesda to be able to have parking at both of their lots as well as Mountlake Church. And so our local other congregations are supporting and getting behind it, where they're saying, you use our space, we want to be good stewards and good neighbors. They're looking at trying to figure out a way if there can be a shuttle from the light rail. That doesn't look like it's as ideal just because time of day and borrowing somebody else's van, but John Merrick was able to provide them with some potential resources for like the rideshare vans that Metro King County has that you can check out and rent for that time period. So if they wanted to have somebody do that, that was an option, even though we're in over that border. But how to kind of work it out and give them contacts for that. So,
So for the no parking sign, is that a temporary thing that and so there's no parking where though?
removing the no parking signs.
They're already on.
They're already there.
The no,
I
so right now there's no parking in front of the mosque or south of the mosque on 56th on both sides.
Oh, okay.
And so those will be removed and be like no parking like east of here. So like there's still like, you have that bump out so you don't park right to the
So it's
corner.
gonna be permanently removed.
Yes.
Yes, with revised signage saying no parking north of here or south of here, but allow parking. And then also potentially addressing the time parking down the road. Whereas, you know, hey, this is not just leave your car here for 3 weeks because it's a public space, but maybe have it, you know, 3 hour parking for these times and, or after 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
So,
sure. Yeah.
That makes sense.
but the amount of spaces that would open up on the street by removing those signs would be about 25 cars.
Wow.
So it would definitely alleviate some of the side roads and people getting parked in front of their lawns and things like that. And yeah, just the team went out there and looked at it and said, yeah, this is something we can do. So I think it's great to be able to have that kind of support within this building and the city to want to make those changes, and for you guys to bring it up and say, you know, let's try to support this and be a part of it. So, yeah, and
I didn't realize it was a problem, but it came up during the community conversation.
And then we talked about it with the webinar we had.
Well, you know, that subject actually came up a little while ago, before the conversation, with, some folks over at Hemlock. You know, I was there and it came up and it was just a community, a resident, like, that's not right, that's not right, you know, that's not good either, so, you know, took pictures and stuff like that. And I listened to somebody across the street, but, you know, then they brought it up in conversations, because they were looking at it as a resident, you know, not a member of the mosque, but a resident, brought it up, they didn't think it, you know.
Well, thank you for organizing the staff to go down. I think it was really important. I really appreciate you doing it.
Did they bring up the banner?
yeah, so we addressed the banner, and we addressed the banner code as well, and kind of discussed that and went over it. We're not, it doesn't sound like we're gonna be doing street banners. Just from logistics, the one that we have is on 220th and 58th over there, as well as on 44th and 230th, I wanna say. Yeah, and so it's not on 236 where they would ideally want it. And to get the signs that they would want, that they could do is 3 foot by 2 foot on the poles. Financially and last minute time turnaround. But I gave them kind of the specs of what they would need to ask for, if they want to do it next year, and what that would look like, because it would be a different style of permit. Because it's our city poles, they have to come through the city to be able to put them up, which then there'd be a fees assessed with that. But they just said they wanted the information, because they know that, you know, time runs out and try to turn stuff around, but also gave them suggestions, you know, if you want to have it where it just says Ramadan and it just spells it out as they come down the road, visually, like looking either way, whether you're looking at the light rail and you get the mountains in the background on a nice day and you just see the word Ramadan on the side of the road up there. It doesn't have to be anything over the top, but so just trying to start those ideas of what it could be. And then also spark the ideas from me on what it could be. But it does sound like.
I'm glad we talked about it, because they will bring it up next time as well.
Yeah.
They really want those banners.
And so we came to a conclusion of either putting it on the fence in front of the mosque or hanging it above the arches would be the best option for this year, to have a banner. And that way at least there's a visibility, and that way if you have the times on there or like general time frame, people can be a little more knowledgeable about what is happening and when things are happening as well.
Yeah, but the problem with this masjid is it has only one minaret, because usually there are 2 or 4, and you put the banner in between minarets. The minaret is a tower here, but it says only one, so they have no other place to just hang it.
On the front of it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the minaret is a tower, so usually in the Middle East, they hang something between 2 minarets, like on the top.
Yeah.
But they have only one. That's probably why they're struggling. It's kind of it has a word, it's kind of a traditional thing, every year they put Mahia, I think. The sign, they say welcome Ramadan. Well, thank you for talking to them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Good work.
Yeah. All right, and then the last event, I alluded to, Sienna's been helping me plan a community conversation for Saturday, March 29th with the Edmond School District at Mountlake Terrace Elementary School. And so we'll have a planning meeting with the communications person and Dr. Guzman, next week to talk about that further, like the time of day and, how we market it to the families of the school district. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes with our partner this weekend. And see how that format works with an hour about the city and an hour about the health district, and see if something like that would work with the school, or if we should be a little more comprehensive and just merge our questions together, because people don't think of the school and the city and the school district as different entities a lot of times. And so maybe maybe they're merged. We'll just kind of see how it goes on Sunday
It
and
might be overlap.
reevaluate, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know we originally talked about like doing community conversations through March. I think it's worthwhile to continue at least the focused community conversations with certain groups, because it's really just about building those relationships. And so whether or not we do big open ones, I guess we can see how much demand there is for that as we move forward. But I think from the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan perspective, this spring we'll have to like draw a line somewhere where we're gathering information from those conversations to put towards our plan. And obviously the plan is going to evolve over time. And as we learn more information, we can make adjustments to the plan. But just wanted to see how you all felt about that approach with the community conversations.
More targeted audiences.
Yeah, after March, kind of focus on the targeted audiences with the groups that were really missing in our public engagement and policy making kind of work.
Makes sense.
Another thing I was bouncing around in my head is, do we find a fun way? I was sort of against this at first, but I'm trying to like be open-minded about different ways to communicate with people, and understanding that not everyone can take 2 hours to come to a community conversation. Do we take the ideas like on our posters and our conversation guide and translate it to an online forum in a fun way, not just like a poll or a survey, before we close get data gathering for the DEI strategic plan? So like in March or April, spend 2 to 4 weeks with an online presence. And I still have to spend some time working with Sienna on what options we have available, because there's some fancy platforms that some cities have for community engagement. We don't have one of those. They're pretty expensive, but we
This
might.
would be an interactive.
I was thinking of it interactive,
Yeah.
something like we did with the comp plan, but maybe a little more engaging, where like, can I put a Post-it note on the poster or add a comment live, or, just something that's not just a poll, like, but maybe that you can see what other people wrote, or,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still kind of exploring the idea in my head, but I wanted to see where you all were with that. It's not ideal, but I also understand that we're missing a lot of people. So,
I tell you what's popping up in my head, because, I'm don't do a whole lot of those different things. I'm kind of really in school, but I'm sitting there popping in my head is, when I just wrote down, the question when I get the Terrace High is, because you use the word fun, if the kids have to create something around what we're talking about, it would be fun. They would make it fun. Are they capable of what kind of ideas could be different? To help us in this idea, because, My head go, my mind don't look. It just doesn't, you know, and, but, there's the, it can't, you know, so I think it's a great idea, you know, but, you know, I know my limitation as far as the whole idea, but, you know, the kids, you know, everything, I've been writing notes, or writing a lot of notes about MOTI,
Mhm,
you know, because that's where the ideas come from.
mhm.
You know, they may not have the expertise, but they got the ideas, you know.
They're instilled by more years of,
Yeah, you know,
you know,
well, I'll bring that up to
having
too,
surprised
if I get a chance to, you know, or at least, cause I just be able to put over and talk about, share ideas, how do we get the kids involved. And
Like the comment, because I think, I love that idea. I mean, I can imagine going on there and playing with it and making a comment here and seeing what the trends are and comments and things like that. But I'm wondering if this is that audience, if that audience is gonna wanna play that way. Right, the audience that we don't see here,
Mhm.
that we're trying to attract,
Mhm.
is this the right vehicle for that audience?
well, the right vehicle will be whatever platform that they use, like Western Africans, they use,
What's that?
WhatsApp. They do all that in WhatsApp. Everything they do is on WhatsApp.
That's right.
Everything they do is on WhatsApp. And they talk, they say anything that starts here goes to Africa and then comes back here. That's how they operate.
Were you thinking about something like this where people can at the same time comments?
Maybe,
These are
I've
free.
used,
Mural?
that one's called Mural, there's one called Miro, there's.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're,
I am not sure, like, if you can lock down the comments. So, so there's like just a
Oh.
few questions I have, like, that was one that I threw out there in brainstorming today with Sienna. It's kind of a post-it, a virtual post-it board, and then you can move things around and group things and whatnot, but I'm not sure if it's like possible, but I also am worried that it's too confusing for people, because sometimes you log into Miro, which is only a version of
Yeah.
that. And like, oh, I can't find the page, it got shrunk down to this big, and then like, can you delete somebody else's comment, or who
Oh,
monitors?
you have to deal with technical.
Yeah, I don't know, so I just need to look into it, but yeah, I mean, it's just something a little more.
I can tell you seniors aren't gonna wanna use.
Right,
I know
right,
so
right.
many people are fine.
I mean,
Oh, senior is in senior citizen,
Mhm.
because there's high school next to it, I took the senior student. Well.
but I know I'm not a commission member, but like my thought for this would be kind of like a week-long campaign for each kind of poster board,
Mm,
but ask people to send in like almost like faceless photos, but I have them write it and like hold up their paper, hold up their Post-it and send those photos. Then you can almost make your own collage of like, this is what we got from everybody, and then share it back and saying,
yeah, a
This is
social
our
media
community.
campaign.
where it makes it where you can do it 1 week at a time. People can
Cool.
choose to email that
Yeah.
in. And you
Yeah.
share everybody's like comment, like write it on your Post-it or write it on a piece of paper and send it to us. And I'm sure some people type it on their phone and just screenshot it and say, it's in, it's a screenshot. But you don't have to necessarily do a live one where you can do, hey, we're gonna do a week long where we wanna hear from this. And then at the end of that week, you can make that
Send
collage
comments.
and then gets posted, so people will see, oh, this person, oh, I like that, or whatever. That way, I mean, it's not gonna be as active, like
No,
you see what everybody
it's a
did,
good
but at the
idea,
same
though.
time, it's.
Yeah.
You have 4 or 5 different boards, you do it over time and let people say, hey, send it to this email address, and then Sienna can go through and kind of say, oh yeah, we're gonna screen this one, or this is in the background, we need to crop it, but then see everybody's different handwriting and whatnot too, and maybe a kid draws a photo and you just wanna use that too.
That's a good idea, thanks.
I'm in events.
I'll brainstorm a little bit too, but, yeah, I mean, I guess kind of going back to the high school and this idea and the targeted conversation. Somebody copied me on a string. Are you talking to Tribeca, William? Or somebody from
I think it's Bonita because that name
Benita?
sounds
Oh, right.
familiar.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, so really not the suit.
Yeah,
All right, so I think it was Benita, yeah.
she's in a different position.
Yeah.
She's not the counselor, career counselor, and
All right, so
yeah.
I'll call Benita this week.
Yes, Rebecca emailed today to Bonita saying, I'm not in this position.
Yeah. Oh, that was about your event, the Children's
Yes.
Day event.
So maybe there are multiple sets going.
Yes, yeah. But maybe we can have multiple conversations with whomever we end up connecting with about a community conversation.
Yeah, Sienna,
Yeah,
girl, yeah,
yeah,
she was there.
right, she was there, we met.
That's when we first started.
Okay,
Yeah.
is there any, are there any other connections that people have made for community conversations that we want to share?
Isn't targeted.
Yeah.
community.
Mhm.
I can't think of more.
Okay.
There's so many segments
Yeah.
in society, so it's hard to.
What about your childcare parents? Just
Yeah, we talked about that and then I didn't follow up with you.
Child care parents.
Yeah.
So the city runs three childcare at three different schools. So you have parents that are from Madrona, Mountlake Terrace Elementary and Terrace Creek Park, or Terrace Park Elementary, that their kids are already in our programs. But some of them live more locally and some of them on the outskirts of Edmonds, but you're looking at 100+ kids. And
So
their
the
parents,
city runs child care program?
Yeah.
Oh,
one at the Pavilion, one at Madrona, and one at Mountlake Terrace Elementary, for before and after school care. And so you have these parents who are already invested in your programs. That may have some,
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good populations.
Yeah.
there's something else to do.
How are you gonna market this?
Well, we could just send an invite to those families and then offer childcare.
Yeah.
and have we tried to reach out to the people with disabilities? It's hard to,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, the city will bench across the street.
oh, we did?
No, I'm saying, that's what I was
Oh.
just thinking of also, because they will bench right across the street.
Conversation you can go for next year. Yeah, a lot
I mean,
of-
that would be nice to know what it is, should be, what it is like to be disabled in Mountlake Terrace.
Yeah.
What's the access?
The accessibility, yeah, that's a better way of phrasing it.
They got a lot to say, you know, every once in a while.
Adult family homes,
We do have a
center
couple.
of, young adults.
I also connected with a resident who I think lives in one of the adult family homes, so I can reach out to them. Okay, well, as you meet people or connect with people, just keep in your mind that we can always do a targeted conversation. It's always better to go to a group that already meets and go to like a meeting they're having, so we're not having to create a whole new event, and ask them to come out again. So that's one way to think about it. All right.
And the one on the 29th is another open one, is that what you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's also a health, fair coming up, and it's gonna be in the newsletter that's coming out shortly. I'll try to send information about the health fair.
So you want to put that in health as well.
The Snohomish County Health Department.
That's the one that they did last year, too.
I'm sure.
It was a big one, no, too, that I went to.
Right, do you want to start your reports?
Yes, Commissioner Page and I toured Mountlake Terrace High School on June the 16th. It was a great tour, got to learn about the Edmonds School District. And took a bus there and went through some of the classes, had lunch, spoke to some of the teachers and students there. Learned a lot about the Edmonds School District. Covers Briar, Edmonds, Linwood, Mountlake Terrace, unincorporated Snohomish County. 21,000 students, 1,300 teachers. Big school district.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the 16th. On the 23rd, the Lunar New Year proclamation here. City. 29th, community conversation. Also here. It was a great one, well attended.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for hosting.
February 6th was the Black History Month proclamation. Patricia did a good job on her presentation. And her Black Student Union from the high school accepted the proclamation. That was really nice. And they were really pleased.
Well, that was great. Even though there's a little bit of a communication standard, you gotta read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how many.
Yeah, poor William was moderating from Texas.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got so called. Yeah, yeah, but anyway, it happened, but then,
February 12th was the Mountlake Terrace Phase 2 planning. Open to the public. And that was, I mean, it's nice to see some of these things actually coming to fruition. It was great to see that beautification that went on out here on 236, is that going up,
mhm.
including some of these areas up here. Yesterday, I attended a statewide refugee advisory council, a public forum, and learned a lot about immigrant rights, and especially now, and what the state is doing in preparation for planned ICE raids and your legal rights to police or ICE showing up at your doorstep like that. And I have a lot of links, 3 in particular. I don't have which. But the links are to the ACLU and all of what they offer as far as the resources are concerned. There is a child support network, and another in regard to parents who are separated from their children. And these are scary times.
and just even have, how is it we even have to talk about this? I mean, it's awful, isn't it?
Mhm.
The state of Washington is ready. That's it.
Okay, I also went to the Lunar New Year proclamation and, community conversation on the 29th. And Black History Month proclamation. When I talked to Carla at the food bank about how immigrant campus. So, I also talked to her about what they're doing to help protect their population, and they have they set up a whole process for it. You know, if ICE shows up, they do this, so, you know, these smaller groups like this are also setting up a protocol for how to handle ICE if they show up, and how to protect the population, so. That's good, and then, I forgot to mention when, I did the video conference, with, Marisol and, Benita. Also, there was a representative from Snow Island
Okay.
about maybe using the library,
Mhm.
and I think the other names.
Kristen? or
Yes.
Ruth? Mhm.
And, like I said, there was just gonna be more investigation into what the possibilities were at that point, but there was discussion about community conversation and about the immigrant rights thing, so. That'll do.
I'm glad you know.
That's
Great.
I also went to the community conversation 29th and genuinely impressed with the number of people and how they interacted with us. Conversations were, I'm not sure what I expected, but it was beyond expectations. Also yesterday, I did, take part in the Refugee Advisory Council Public Forum, and it was amazing the amount of information that they exchanged, which I think is very important, right? Because a lot of this exists in a way that we sort of live in this world of sound bites, but they actually brought a ton of resources and information. It was just filling my brain, and they got a lot done in less than 2 hours. And I was really impressed. And then I just want to mention, I've been working on the County Night fundraiser. That's this Friday and Saturday, and helps to raise money for the Edmonds School District. It's a great show, and we're a couple days away from the big weekend, so I'll mention that.
All the commissioners involved.
You can put the.
With
stop
Scott, I was
button.
at the Edmonds School District on the 16th, and I think also to take that opportunity of giving our ideas, about how we can, utilize the school a little bit more, kind of like a follow-up. And more, conversation, very dynamic. Oh, and then on the 12th, I think we'll us. So, it was well attended. It wasn't as diverse as I had hoped it would be, but, there's a little bit of diversity in it, so sorry. And lastly, I should let y'all know that, I did put my, name in the hat, for consideration for the appointment, the open appointment for the city council.
Very good. All right.
Your turn. I didn't do anything, but I am planning, so we're planning a Nowruz celebration in Bellevue with the Azerbaijani community for March 16th. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna celebrate every single community's Nowruz. It's a constant eating, basically. Kazakhs are celebrating Nowruz this year in April, so we are also doing it. If you're from Kazakhstan, they're doing it in April because Nowruz overlaps with Ramadan, and they didn't want to do food events during Ramadan. But Azerbaijanis didn't care. In May, I organized a picnic for a holiday called Federales. It is celebrated in Balkan region in Europe, and I never celebrated it, and I've been curious about it, so I said I'm gonna celebrate it and make people come and show them how it is done. Let's see how it goes. So those are the new things that I organized.
Awesome.
It would be nice because Hydrellez is celebrated by a variety of people. And I'm reaching out to the Bosnians, Macedonians, Bulgarians, I don't know how to reach out to Roma people, but if I can find a connection, I will also invite them because they all celebrate it. It's a very diverse group of people.
How do you spell the holiday?
Hidrellez.
And how is it pronounced?
Hydrellez. Yeah. It's a spring holiday. There's so many mythology behind it, and it's like, I mean, there are multiple spellings of it, but that's one of them.
Mhm.
So let's see how that goes. I'm reaching out to all those different communities. I infiltrated their Facebook groups.
Mhm.
Hey, there's a free picnic here. Nobody signed up yet, but I have time. It's May 5th or so.
Nice. Good job.
And so one of them actually asked, "Oh, we're supposed to." They jump over fire.
Mm.
And are we going to have a fire to jump over? I'm like, no, it's Lindale Park. I don't think I can see things on fire.
Yeah. Need some private property for it. All right, wrapping things up. Hi, welcome. Do you want to sit down?
That's it.
Join the party. Okay, Commissioner spot. All right, just wrapping up. Oh yes, Sienna is seeking testimonials from board and commission members to help with recruitment. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll connect you with Sienna
Wait, recruitment.
for vacant positions on boards and commissions.
Oh,
So, yeah, just like how much fun it is. What
are we
value
getting food in return?
While you're hosting a picnic.
I claim I owe all the picnics. I say potluck. I don't bring food. I just people bring. Yeah, that's strategy.
He's got it, so,
All right,
A question. If you are chosen to be in the city council, do you immediately vacate this position? You do?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have a need for this marketing.
We're not optimistic.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I think there was, Vanita is up, so she'll have to reapply.
Yeah.
I think is the other person,
She
yeah.
can.
I guess we need a motion to excuse.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we do.
I move to excuse Bonita.
I second that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to make sure we don't forget.
Yeah, thank you. I spoke about the second item, and then the third thing is, Jeff Knighton just confirmed with council who could make the date for state of the city. It's going to be on our commission night, May 21st, overlapping in time. So we need to move our meeting, unfortunately. I threw some dates out there, let me know.
Oh, I'm May. I'm looking.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so we'll do on the 21st instead.
20th is okay.
That could be the 20th.
I can do 20th.
I can't do it, so.
The four of us can do 20th.
May 20th.
I believe you would do it, I don't think I'll be able to do something.
Just ask that.
Wait, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
20th, what about the 20th?
The 20th is.
Okay. I
So
don't
far, the
know, that's
consensus.
maybe, but I know the next one.
Okay. Let's try that.
Okay,
Scott, can we add something to the agenda?
Yes, this is, your new, business time. Yes,
Can we discuss if you think, with the commission starting at 6:30? 30? 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6:30. 6
Do we need a longer discussion?
I don't know how,
It's up to you if you want to change the time of the meeting.
Okay.
Why 6:30?
it's just a little earlier, right? That's fine.
Get out of here a little bit early,
Yeah.
before our bedtime.
I didn't say that.
Yes, before my bedtime. We get out of here.
I'm in favor of that. Are we gonna? I think we're gonna want the meeting for this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Or maybe Carolyn, you can just send an ask to everybody, I'm
Yeah,
sure
that'll be-
Patricia and Tom would appreciate it.
Appreciate it, yes.
I'll
Because
just
we
check.
can even do 6 if it, no, I just said 6:30 because I'm just moving it slowly.
yeah.
Next year, you can ask us.
No, next year.
You go 5.
6:50.
Okay,
So do the folks here, are the folks here in favor of that? So if I just reached out to Benita
I'm in favor,
and
I'm
Patricia,
sure.
okay.
yeah.
So I will just reach out to people who are not here to see how they feel.
Air.
We might have to vote on it at the next meeting though.
Okay.
I mean, you could vote on it tonight, but if you want me to reach out first, we can.
Let's reach out
Okay.
first out of
That'd
respect.
be nice.
Yeah,
All right, so as I mentioned earlier, related to community conversations, I'm hoping that this spring we wrap up the public engagement part of it, and then depending on if we do the online part, then I will leave the data gathering open until the end of that. And then we will start meeting about prioritizing, action steps to put into the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan. So I'm hoping that this summer we can wrap that plan up and start working towards implementing.
Okay. Okay,
All right.
ready to
That's all
adjourn?
I've got.
Good.
Right,
Okay,
good.
thank you, everyone.
See you Saturday, man.
exciting.
Thank you.
See you
Andrew.
Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be there Friday.
Yeah.
I'll see you there. Hope you all enjoy it.
You're well. Who's the
Oh.
main act?
Oh.
Oh, is this the Adrian?
Adrian, are you still?
I think still, maybe they're not still.
They just start meeting if you go in the Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody to come out there and speak to their group?
Yeah.
That what she got?
Yes, I think it's in reference to the community.
That's the ultimate
Yes.
community conversation opportunity, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't have her phone, but I sent her mine.
Maybe she'll reach out.
But you didn't ping or anything on your.
Because it's hidden, because you're sharing your screen,
Oh, it doesn't ping.
just won't show you unless you go up and